Hi students, in this video I'll be going through the 2022 O-Level Additional Mathematics Paper 1 question 10. Alright, so this is a question regarding a trigonometric graph. Okay, so let's read the question. Okay, so for part A, find the amplitude and period of 2 sine x. Okay, so they want us to write down the amplitude and period. Okay, so this is not a difficult question. So the amplitude, we look at this number over here. So this number is 2, which means that the amplitude of this graph is going to be 2. Right, then for period, we look at the number over here. So if the number over here, if there's no number, means it's a 1. Okay, so if it's a 1, then the typical period for sine or cosine graph, right, will be 360 degrees or 2 pi radians. So in this question, actually, if you look at the range here, it's given in radians. So we will write it in radians. So in other words, the period is going to be 2 pi, right? Okay, then let's look at part 2. Okay, so part 2, amplitude. Once again, look at the number in front of the trigo function. So though over here is a -4, right? Okay, but for amplitude, you always just write the positive value. Okay, so the amplitude will be 4, right? Okay, then the next one, the period, look at the value over here. So if the value over here is 2, means from 0 to 2 pi, instead of seeing one complete graph, you will see 2 complete graphs. Okay, so if you see 2 complete graphs, that means the period is actually half lah. Okay, that means from 0 to pi you see 2 complete waves. That means 0 to pi you will see 1 wave. Pi to 2 pi you will see the second wave. Okay, so the period will be 2 pi over 2, so you'll get pi. All right. Okay, so that will be the period. Okay, then next one, they want you to just sketch out the 2 graphs. Okay, so we will sketch y equals to 2 sine x first. That's the easier of the 2 graphs to sketch. Okay, so same thing, I always set up the vertical shift, the maximum and the minimum values first. Okay, so over here, the blue lines. Okay, so for this, y equals to sine 2x, 2 sine x. Okay, y equals to 2 sine x, right? There's no vertical shift. That means the center point will be on the x-axis. Okay, then the amplitude is 2, meaning that the minimum point will then be 0 minus 2 to get -2. The maximum point will be 0 plus 2 to get 2, right? Okay, so now I will set up the x-axis, so 2 pi. So since the period is 2 pi, we will divide 2 pi into 4 equal parts. So this will be pi, and then after that, further divide. Then this will be pi over 2, and then 3 pi over 2. Right, so for a sine graph, the pattern is this way. So you go from the rest point first to the maximum, back to the rest, back to the minimum, and then go back to the rest point. Okay, so you will start over here, then you go up to the maximum, go back to the rest, back to the minimum, and then go back to rest. Okay, so this sine graph is going to look like this. Okay, so looks good. All right, so this is y equals to 2 sine x. Okay, so y equals to 2 sine x, right? Okay, so let's draw the next graph. Okay, let's change the color of the marker. Let's change it to maroon color. Okay, so the next graph that they want us to draw is y equals to 3 minus 4 cosine 2x, right? Okay, so the vertical shift is 3. Okay, meaning that the center point of the graph is going to be at 3. So I've labeled this to be 3. So if this is 0, then 2, then 3. Okay, then to get the least value, you will take 3 minus the amplitude. So 3 minus 4 will give a -1. Okay, then to get the maximum, you will take 3 plus the amplitude to get the maximum to be 7. Right? Okay, so then next thing it will be to set up the x-axis. So remember now the period is just pi, right? So from 0 to pi, you should see one complete cosine curve already. Okay, so 0 to pi, you'll see one complete cosine curve. So now we'll divide 0 to pi into 4 parts. Okay, so over here, divide. So if you divide, you will get this to be pi over 4. Then this will be 3 pi over 4. Okay, then do the same thing for the second half of the graph. Okay, over here you'll get 5 pi over 4. Basically, you just keep adding pi over 4 for each interval. Then here will be 7 pi over 4. Okay, so one thing to be careful. Now this is the negative cosine graph. Okay, so positive cosine graph will look like this. Okay, negative cosine graph will be inverted like this. Okay, so you'll start from the minimum, go to rest, go to maximum, go to rest, then go to minimum. Right, so let's begin drawing. So now the minimum value is -1, right? Okay, so we'll start over here. Then at the next important marking, pi over 4, you'll go to rest. Okay, then at pi over 2, okay, so at pi over 2, so you'll go up to the maximum, then go down to the rest point again, and then at pi, you will go to the minimum. Okay, so let's try to sketch this first one. Okay, so this one maybe a bit challenging to sketch. Okay, never go through. Okay, so it goes here. Okay, so sketching graph need more practice. Okay, but then on paper it will be easier to sketch than on this computer screen because it's very smooth. Okay, so this is your first cycle, right? Then after that we'll continue the next cycle. So now for minimum, the next part will go back to rest. So here, the next part will go to the maximum. So somewhere here, go back to rest here, and then finally 2 pi go back to the minimum part. So continue. Up. Okay, good. Then come down, and then after that go. Right, so this is the second graph. Okay, so this will be the y equals to 3 minus 4 cosine 2x. Right, so this is the way we always draw the trigo graph or my approach to it. Okay, so I set up the vertical shift, the center point, the maximum and minimum values. Okay, then after that I set up the x-axis. Okay, then I mark out depending on the period, I will divide the intervals, okay, into different sizes. Okay, then after that I'll mark out the points and then I'll draw the graph. Right, so it'll be good if you can use your ruler to make proportional measurements for both the x and y axis markings. Okay, it's going to make your graph much nicer. Okay, so I hope you can do more practice and then you should be ready for the WA exam, right?